This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Colb, man, are you ready to talk about Odell Beckham again?
We're about to talk about my boy. My boy got paid.
He did. And people are wondering if that's a good sign for the Ravens to keep Lamar Jackson or not. Let's hear what ESPN has to say about this.
Lamar Jackson posted on social media last night, the two of them having a conversation. He makes returning to Baltimore that much more attractive. No, he does not mean that they're going to pay Lamar Jackson extra money, but he does make the job that much more interesting for Lamar Jackson. Also on a one-year deal. So if and when he leaves after this year, the Ravens could get a compensatory draft pick back for Odell Beckham Jr. And then, of course, you're signing one of the most popular athletes, I think, not just in football, but in the world. He becomes an iconic brand, and that's not why you make moves, but that's just another reason to bring in a player as popular as Odell Beckham Jr. There's some of the thinking, and of course, Odell Beckham Jr. was going to visit the Jets today, but obviously was interested in Baltimore, the money they paid, and canceled the Jets visit, and he's hoping to be able to play with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because this is one going around, and I have my own thoughts on this. Do you think the signing of Odell Beckham greatly impacts, one way or the other, the Baltimore Ravens' chances to get Lamar Jackson back?
No. And I'm telling you no, and this is why I'm saying no. First of all, what that got to do with my money? Because that's why we're in this situation in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's not about it's not about investing, resources and assets into that wide receiver room, which they have not done since Lamar has been the quarterback. They need to change that. At least this is a step in the right direction of actually doing that, which I applaud the Ravens for doing. But
I mean, what that got to do with my money? To be fair to the Ravens, they only invest in old wide receivers. That's the only type of time Anquan Bolden, okay, Steve Smith. They only invest in old wide receivers. So Odell Beckham, they was looking at him. Everybody else was getting off of him when he turned 30. They saw him about to get 30. I was like, this is right on time for us. And they usually do well with old dudes at that position, right? They just can't develop the young ones. But I'm actually going the other direction. I do think this impacts their ability to sign Lamar Jackson, but I don't think it helps them. I think it actually hurts them because you keep giving out this money and you don't be giving me mine. Like that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what does that have to do with? What does that have to do with me and my
everybody money? Else got theirs but me, and now I'm looking around like, where's mine gonna come from? Who's going for me to get mine? You know what I mean? Like they're acting as if Lamar Jackson is not going to be expensive. He's expensive. Like, he's not playing under $35 million. He'd rather just probably not play than do that. So I do think this affects their ability to keep him, and I do think it actually hurts it.
The new Ravens wideout has not played since tearing his ACL in Super Bowl 56. Prior to that, he struggled to produce with the Rams during the regular season, but flipped the switch in the playoffs. He more than doubled his yards per route run, significantly increased his catch rate, while also creating over a yard more of separation on his targets. We've talked about this so many times, but in that Super Bowl, you felt like if he could have remained healthy, he could have been the MVP, potentially even of that game. Marcus, what do you think about this move, OBJ to the Ravens?
What do you think do you think what do you think his numbers are going to look like in Baltimore? Now, keep in mind, he's in the top market system. This is what he was in 2019. That was his best year as a Cleveland Brown. It wasn't a good Odell year, but like, it wasn't the last two that he had in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of factors that go into it. Like you said, he's back in the top market system, but he got a better quarterback this time around. So, I mean, I'm sure that'll help. But he also hasn't played in a while, and he's coming off two major knee injuries.
And he's older.
So it's also it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to predict. I don't think he's gonna be as productive as he was. that year with the Browns. Like, I don't think he's going to be as well. And I don't even remember what the stats were. I know he had over 1,000 receiving yards.
I think it was like close to 1,100.
I think it was close to 1,100. But there's an extra game, so there's an extra game now. So like, maybe he cracks 1,000 yards. I think he can crack 1,000 yards in 17 games with Lamar. But
my
like,
worry about him is like, does he stay healthy?
That's my thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if
he stay healthy.
Can he play 17 games? Is he gonna play every game?
In the AFC North too. You know what I mean? So you're playing against teams that are gonna hit harder than most and probably hit more often. I mean, we'll see what his target numbers look like. So I do think even if Lamar's back, there's that. If Tyler Huntley is the quarterback, look, Odell's not gonna quit on the team, but there is a different juice you get when you're motivated because you think you could win a championship like he felt like in LA versus, well, going to work, boys. Right? Like, you know, he's a very hard worker.
To be fair.
And that happens to everybody.
For $15 million, I think his level of excitement is going to be pretty consistent. No matter.
They already gave him the 15. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to get another 15. Like, I don't know if he thinks that. Also, let's look at that number. That's more than what we thought Odell was going to get.
Well, it's way more than I thought he was going to get.
So this screams to me that Baltimore had to pay more than everybody else to get him. And if that's the case, you can't be that convinced that Lamar is coming back. You just can't be that convinced. This is more money Odell's making on this contract than he would have his last year in Cleveland. Like when he had that, like this is how much wide receiver deals has jumped. I think he was only going to make like 12 or 13 million in Cleveland. He's like scheduled to make 15 guarantee, 18 in incentives or something like that. So this is a lot of money for Odell Beckham. And again, if you're spending this money on Odell, if you're spending this money on Roquan, if you're spending this money on Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey, where is Lamar's money?
I know he upset.
They're spending money as if they're anticipating their quarterback being on the rookie deal. And I'm not saying they're going to draft the rookie quarterback, but I think they don't think they're paying more than $35 million for a quarterback this year. Now, I don't know who they think is going to play the position at that amount, but I don't think it's Lamar Jackson. And if Lamar is not there, then you just signed Odell for a year for what?
I hear you. I think he's going to be the quarterback next year just because I don't know where else he's going to go. Like I don't know what other team is going to, not toe the line and say, for lack of better words, fuck it, we going to go get Lamar. Like what team is going to do that? Because to this point, no team, it seems like, has been willing to do it at this point. I feel like he's going to, and there's a possibility he might just say, you know what, I'm just going to sit out. Since y'all playing with my money, I'm just going to say there's a possibility he does that. There's also a possibility he just plays on the tag and just.
I don't think there's a chance he's playing on that tag. He has been willing to take it to this point. It would make no sense for him to sit there and be like, well, I'm fine playing on the tag. Like, I think people are living in fantasy land. They think he's going to play on $35 million. He's not. Like, either the Ravens figure something out with him financially and get a new deal done, or he just doesn't play this year, or he plays somewhere else. But I don't really think the $35 million he's playing on the tag, that's not happening. He's not going to play on that tag. I think he'd rather sit out. I think he'd rather do other things than do that. I know he wants to win the championship. I know he wants to do all of these things, but he also wants to be valued. And he knows if he plays on this team, like, this is not a championship level roster, no matter how much Baltimore fans try to flip it. Like, adding Odell does not make you a championship contender. And that's really what they've added. Odell and Nelson Aguilar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to fix your wide receiving core. It makes it better than it was last year. But last year, you had two dudes off the street that you signed that were legitimately your two best receivers. So you had the worst wide receiver room last year. I don't see this moving the needle for them. And I don't see Odell at age 30 being what Lamar goes, man, I got to come back to Baltimore to run this back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it does anything like that. And can we also Baker Mayfield ruined another reunion. He did. He could have been here. We could be talking about Baker Mayfield, Todd Monken, and Odell Beckham again. But he thought he was too good for Baltimore. We could have been they could have been their. I say this all the time. You have to die the Ravens, or you live long enough to see yourself become the Browns. And right now they got that Browns Infinity Gauntlet where they got Todd Monken. They got Odell Beckham. They are a Jarvis Landry and a Baker Mayfield away from just being the 2019 Browns.
Hey, can we be honest? Can we be honest about something? If they would have signed Baker, Odell wouldn't have went there.
Yeah.
No amount of money.
No, Odell would have wanted 16 and 20.
No amount of money would have been enough for him to put himself through that again. Absolutely not.
What you talking about, Colb? He said shine underneath one of Baker's Instagram posts. Clearly, there was no animosity at all, right? Like, clearly.
That man put a whole video of every time Baker missed it when he was watching.
His father. You know, his father did that.
My fault. His dad did that. A whole video. It was like 20 minutes.
It's still out there. It's still on his Instagram.
I'm sorry. That's like the worst year of my Browns fandom. Like top 2 worst year, bottom 2 worst year of my Browns fandom. But that is the most hilarious moment as a Browns fan.
I did 3 hours on a live stream talking about how hilarious that was. Like 3 hours of material. Just like, yo, he told his daddy on him.
He was so mad. He's like, Dad, look at this shit.
Dad, do something.
20 minutes of me being wide open. He can't get you.
I respect and appreciate everything that Odell and Baker have done for the Cleveland Browns. But those two were too dramatic to ever coexist. Okay, they collectively listened to too much Drake to coexist. There was too much going on there. It was too many Marvin rules playing in that situation because you got Odell telling his dad to post these videos allegedly, and then you got Baker Mayfield out here penning letters. Okay, like writing poetry.
I couldn't believe he tweeted that letter out, man. Also, I've never been more angry about something. I was so mad.
Oh man.
Why are you sending me letters? Nobody care about that, dog. I just want you to hit open receivers.
I'm telling you, that would have been the highest rated season of Hard Knocks, and they wouldn't even had to show an episode of spring of a training camp. It could have all just been that. Adult in the room, all of that. And then to cap it off, we cap it off. We're trading for Deshaun Watson.
Hey, this is ratings gold, bro. I can't believe it wasn't an HBO like, hey, no, we need to do this now.
I never really mapped it out like this until now, and I can't believe that that's something that an NFL team did all in one offseason. They're going to do a winning time about the Cleveland Browns in this period of time here, right? And the season is, the episode is going to end with somebody sitting there and be like, hey, he doesn't want to come here. Deshaun wants to go somewhere back home where he's familiar. And just like when Dr. Buss went on that plane to Las Vegas to get Jerry Tarkanian to be the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, they are going to show Jimmy Haslam with buckets of money flying to, what was it, Clemson or Atlanta, Georgia, wherever it was that Deshaun Watson was, and saying, is it about money? Here. Huh? You want more? Take it. Yeah. Are you homesick or do you want the green, dog? Because they gonna offer you this. This is, look, they gonna do it. I hope it works out to the point to where the Browns have the success that we want and we can make this a winning time episode. But this is gonna be that's gonna be played out in the documentary, and John C. Reilly is 100% playing. Jimmy Haslam. And it's gonna be
need
great.
I need John C. Riley. I need John C. Riley as Jimmy Haslam. I need it.
I need it. I need it. I need it in my life. I need it in my life. And then while we at it, Denzel Washington kid can be Andrew Barry. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, HBO gotta hire us, bro. Hire us. We
you know what I mean? Together. Look, we gonna make that show in like 10 years. It's gonna happen. 20 years. You know what I mean? Showtime Lake is pretty old. We'll do it in 20 years. Let's see. But that is like all of that happened, dog, in the span of 6 months. Odell, the rise and fall of Odell. Okay. Baker Mayfield quit on the team, wrote a letter. Okay. Adult in the room. Then we traded for Deshaun Watson. Okay. Like, hey, just when you thought the season was over, it was just getting started. Like,
adult in the room, the most underrated moment of this entire situation.
You know what that to say that? Adult in the room.
Adult in the room
is crazy.
And then you trade for Deshaun Watson.
Hey, they was like, look, man, he got all this other stuff, but when it comes to being in the building, that brother has never gone wrong.
We haven't had one.
Remember, Colb, in the building, on the field.
In the building, on the field.
You do got that.
That's all we talk about. That's all we talk about.
Baker never took his team to the Bahamas. You know what I mean? You know, Baker never gave somebody a watch for giving him his number. You know what I mean? Like, that first 2 months of Deshaun Watson being in the building was wild too, because like all these reports are coming out about him, and very, very like credible reports are coming out about him. Very nefarious stuff.
Extremely credible and nefarious things for reporting.
Mm-hmm. But then you got Anthony Walker like, yo, it's the best dude I've ever met in my life.